Okay. Don't have a lot of time in back to Power Master Thursday. It may not be. This may come before Thursday. It's not easy to do. Cross my fingers and hope before Thursday. So it is Friday. Today is August the 26th, 25th, 26th. Okay. And we'll see how it goes. How soon I can get this out. I might be able to work on this tomorrow at cross country. Well, my son is running a cross country race, so let's get into it. We got a lot to go through. Now, once I realized I had to revisit some of my videos. Yeah, I don't like the sound of my voice. My wife doesn't either. Is that I went over Sorgan twice. I'm sorry, I didn't realize that. So Galen and Sorgan were in the first video, and then I had Sorgan and Lube in the last video. Oops. But we've gone over 11 characters. I meant to be through about 12 by now, but only 11. Galen, Sorgan, 4-stroke, cruiser, high Q, electrostatic, gearbox, manifold, lube, throttle, and hot test. So, boom. We got about a third of them done. That's about 11. Well, almost half of them done. Half of them done. So that because there's about 24, 25 characters here. So let's look into the girls. The three female characters in an extra Decepticons. So we're going to look at 2 Autobots, 2 Decepticons. Let's look and go to Llyra. Llyra, I think, was the first fembot that I drew, the first female Autobot, the first female Power Master that I drew. Is there a real person in the suit? It's just a bot with a name as far as I'm concerned. I'm just taking ideas from all over the place, Marvel, G1, whatever, reality. So this is interesting. I like her, and she's a 3-star. Her stats are 2-2-1. Power Master, melee and bot mode, melee and battle master. 80 in shield. She's blank. She doesn't have bold or tough or safety, safeguard or anything like that in bot mode. But I keep feeling like I'm seeing something. Now, I've seen a big black rat snake on my back patio. Oh, no, it's a squirrel. I see the squirrel. Okay. Snake, sick the squirrel. Kidding. It happens. Okay, so Llyra. 82-400 McCall Gabriel engine. Let me bring my volume down. I think it was the year 1982, and I was looking up female race car drivers, and we had some, or racing drivers. Robin McCall, I think, is her name, or was her name, and she won a championship in 82 at the Gabriel Championship or something like that. Maybe I'm getting muddy in the information there, but look it up. I think her name was Robin McCall. So this is where her engine name comes from. So when she gets KO'd, player upgrade side. So this is what she turns into. Oh, I'm right in the middle of the screen. I need to move on one side of the other. Yeah, that works for. I'm sorry. So. Okay, the first thing you notice, she gives +1 to attack and +1 to defense. Originally, she was almost identical to Sorgan, and I realized, well, Sorgan is crank 3, and because his crank is so high, he's cranky. I didn't give attack or defense to Sorgan. Well, she was originally also crank 3, my crank 3 character, but had +1 to attack and defense. So I brought her down to crank 2. But she can go on anybody, but if she goes on the Autobot, you may look at your opponent's hand and scrap an upgrade from their hand. So there's that, which is neat, which can happen on your turn or on your opponent's turn. It all depends on how you're building your deck. And with all the types of cards I'm kind of trying to make, and the other guys are making, there's a lot of neat things we can try to do now to not just bend the game, maybe break the game. So there's that. And she's got crank 2, the same colors as Sorgan. when at least black, white, and green, I want to say orange, I don't know why, are flipped for battle, flip 2 more. And then, of course, characters wearing Power Masters and alt modes cannot flip to bot mode. So there's that. And that's Llyra. So let's go on to Kari. Kari. And Kari does have Pierce 1. She is a 3-star. So I'm looking at their stats. I have Kari at 2, 3, and 1. Llyra at 2, 2, and 1. And they're both the same. They're both the same stars, but one has higher. Let's give Kari a 0 defense. No, not 10, 0, not 100. I want a 0. Thank you. So, okay, Kari's going to have 0 defense. Llyra is going to have 1. So she's 2, 3, and 0. Kari. Pierce 1, so she can take a little bite out of crime, just like it was a Throttle. Yeah, Throttle has Pierce 1 also. So Kari turns into the Spartan 211 controlled engine. So there are Spartan engines. You know, check that out if you don't know it already. I was never that car savvy. I'm still not, but I used to do a lot of work on my own cars. But let's look at her upgrade side. Which is kind of cool looking, and because I started with her bot mode, and I like gave her these round things and the little hood looking thing for her air vent, or what do you want to call it, and it does kind of look like a little spaceship, and yeah, I put it on a space background, but it's meant to be like the hood on a car, and I was trying to make it, aerodynamic, blah blah blah. Well, she can go on anybody. She may be an Autobot, but when you put this on a spaceship, you may look at your opponent's hand and scrap one of their actions. So the female Autobots are able to reveal your opponent's hand and scrap something. Llyra, their upgrades, Kari, their actions. Now the Spartan 211 controlled engine has a crank 2 and at least Blue is flip for battle, flip 2 more. So there she is. So now let's go over to the Decepticon side, and it is the year 2022. And let's look at Soriza. Soriza is another. All these are based off the Marvel characters from the Headmaster 4-issue series. Sorgan, Soriza. Even High Test and Throttle, of course, those guys were actual toys. High Q, Galen, Rev, Kari, Llyra. These were all in the Marvel comics, and I couldn't find a whole lot of Power Masters. I'm sure I'm missing some. Lube is an original, but and I felt like there were more, but they just didn't. That I remembered more Power Masters being made, but I couldn't really find them. Maybe I was just looking in the wrong spot, but that's when I just started making stuff up. So that's where Soriza comes from, even though she is from the Marvel comics. She's holding a neat, kind of cool little sword dagger thing. Okay, she cannot have 1 health. Let's give her 2 health. 2, 2, 1. Which mirrors Llyra now. Melee, Pierce 1. So she's got the Pierce 1 kind of like Kari. So, trying to mix things up a little bit here. Power Master turns into the Nebulan Inline 4.0 leader. Let's pull this over here. The sun's in my monitor over there. Oh crap! This has. Okay. When I clicked on her information was like half missing. So she just like Sorgen are not going to add stats because she also has crank 3 with the same pip colors. Let's do that a little bit. Let's see here. I'm trying not to waste too much of your time. What happened? I swear that the MSC is just kind of finicky. So she's going to give crank 3, but her, and this has got a lot of text on it, so the way it's bumping up for some reason, it already is putting the text almost over the attack and defense. So when at least is not in here, so we need to assume that. Crank 3, black, green, green for battle, flip 3 more. So she's a lot like Sorgen, and she can go anybody, but you're only going to get the bump, or when you put on trigger on boats. We don't have many boats. Of course, I've made a lot of boats. So she could work on all those characters if you wanted to deal with that. Am I going to recolor those? I don't know. I'm already like pulling my hair out after doing this for a couple of years. So when you put this on a boat, scrap a card from your opponent's hand. So you're not even forcing them to reveal their hand like the Autobot female bots are doing. She's just, scrap a card from your opponent's hand, They don't have to reveal them. You just pick a card for them to scrap. I ain't gonna like that. So there's that. And she's got the crank 3 to flip 3 more when at least black, green, green. So that's gonna, we normally don't have many cards with double green because all you need is really just one green pip to be able to swap it on the flip. So there's that. And then we have one more. Let me go over one more character and I got to call it quits. And that is going to be, all right, Nebulin Inline 4.0 leader. That was Soriza. So let's look at Dyne. I've tried to record Dyne, I don't know how many times. Anyway, but Dyne is spelled in the same way as Lunar the Silver Star, even though he's a airplane engine, based on an airplane engine. And I drew the engine first. That's actually spelled D-I-N-E. And I'm trying to remember. I remember seeing it, and it looks kind of like his engine mode. Yeah, it kind of looks like one of those. And I just sort of drew a pair of them. And then I went from, horizontal and made it vertical. So, when you put it on a character, and instead of planes, I did something else. But let's look at the character who is melee. He's Decepticon. He has 3 health and 2 defense, 0 attack, pierce 1. So, just sprinkling just enough to get them in the field. They're probably going to get wiped out pretty quickly, though you probably don't want them to be the first one to be KO'd. Unlike original Battle Masters, that was the idea. I don't know if this is going to work or not, guys. RS25. There we go. When you put it, is going to give +2 to defense. Anybody that wears it. So that's decent. Of course, Pierce gets through the defense. When you put this on a spaceship, you may untap a character on your team or on a character that you control. I might change that. But I always like on your team better than you control. Because you have a team, they have a team, everybody got a team. I don't know. A character on your team. And he has only crank 1. When at least black or flip for battle, flip 1 more. So you can have an aggressive deck, especially a Pierce deck. And with him, from the utility side, you're going to be able to flip 1 more when you flip just 2 black pips. Whether you're attacking or defending. Remember, throttle and high test are the exception, because they can go. They're meant to go on Dreadwing at the same time. Of course, maybe we should ban Buddy's extra measures from casual games. Of course, ATP has banned a lot of cards, and probably for good reasons, for their tournaments and whatnot. But in casual gaming, it's hard to, it comes to a point like, what is fair? How strong are these cards? To me, I found the Arcs cards very strong. Whenever Buddy and I would play, he would have a lot of the Arcs cards, and I would have just like a lot of Wizard stuff, or mixed in with some of my own, and he would win 9 out of 10 times. And I'm thinking, boy, their cards are strong, and they're trying to be, and I'm like, what's going on here? And I'm doing stuff just for fun, just to throw at the win to see what really sticks. So I kind of knew ahead of time I may not really win. And he plays to win. He's a guy, you play against him, you're gonna lose. I don't mean that in an ugly way, but especially the way I was playing. I was trying to see if things would work, because I was testing. He was playing to win. Okay, so we had two different things going on at the same time, and of course I lost almost every game as a result. But so the RS-25 with Dyne here, who is a 4-star character, is going to be great for Shockwaves, Alpha Trion maybe, any sound waves, any spaceship characters, my Spetabots, if you don't want them to combine, or any types of spaceships that we have. So when you put this on a spaceship, you may untap a character on your team. That's big. I understand that. Can you get that re-triggered again? Yeah, with the Quartermaster. Or now that I knew I had something, the Unspaced Stabilizer. Maybe I should have that where it only comes out of the scrap and not the KO, because it is a secret action card, which is kind of nice. It is kind of strong. I never thought about Power Masters or Battle Masters when I was even thinking about the Unspaced Stabilizer when I made it. So maybe I should say no to the Unspaced Stabilizer. I don't know. There's so many different cards that do so many different things, and a lot of this stuff is checks and balances, because I've even made a special secret action that cancels secret actions. So if you're trying to if you're playing somebody that you're triggering their secret action for them to pull something out of their KO pile to get back in their hand or on a character, and with their secret action being triggered, if you have a secret action already in play and it's triggered from their secret action, and that gets flipped, their secret action is scrapped, and it doesn't happen. So there are some checks here. So how are you gonna, with all these possibilities, with all this smorgasbord of cards that we have now, the game has been canceled over 2 years. Look at what's already been trying to be done. Zone cards, battlefield cards, Power Masters, mission cards, etc., etc. I'm not sure if I like the mission cards. They seem really neat. They seem kind of strong, and I had screenshotted a few, and I started reading them. I'm like, this doesn't make sense unless it wasn't finished. But Dan was revealing some, and I really don't have my ear to the ground and on Facebook with them as much as I should to look at the files and try to print stuff out, and I'm out of ink right now. Anyway, so that's the RS-25, or was it supposed to be RS-2S? It's RS-25, and that's named after something too. But since it looks like it, it's supposed to go on a jet, and I thought, golly, this, I drew that, and I was looking at an actual engine for like jet engines. And I think this looks like something that would go on a spaceship. So instead of helping planes again, I'm like, well, let's put this on a spaceship. And since we have so few spaceships, let's make it an untap ability. And because it is kind of strong, it's crank 1. It's the lowest crank. Everybody has a crank. Everybody has a crank. So, in +2 defense, which is nice, but again, Pierce gets through defense every time, unless you have a secret action to prevent it. We have cards to prevent certain things that can prevent Pierce, that can prevent secret actions, that can prevent all sorts of things. And I'm working on some of that too. So that's really all I have time for. I didn't mean to go 20 minutes into all this, but at least we got to go through 4 more characters: Kari, Llyra, Soriza, if that's how that's pronounced, and Dyne. More things coming. We're not done yet. That was the 15 characters. We have about 10 more left to go. We're getting somewhere. In the meantime, for the most part, I have Cronus finished. Cross-Eyed, Clamort, Cramash, Cronus, and how they all go together, I think is really neat. And they're not 19 stars anymore, they're 25. So I've changed that as well. At the same time, I'm working on I had too much going on with Cross-Eyed, even though I think it's Cramash or Clamort is the leader. It's going to take Cross-Eyed to get them to combine, which is a little Sky Tread-ish, somewhat. So we'll check into that hopefully here pretty soon. But I'm working on upgrade card for them to add in. Gosh, I look like I should be a Ghostbuster with my hair like this. It's 1984 again. Woohoo! Trans G1 is new. No, that'd be neat. Boy, those cartoons did not age well. But so once I get finished getting this upgrade done, which is going to be interesting because it was an ability that I had for Cross-Eyed that it was just too much on the card in the MSC. And I'm like, oh, gee, okay, what am I going to do? I really want this to happen in some way or form, but I also needed to have written on there to explain how they combine. So once I get that upgrade done and drawn and colored, I'm actually doing a background, guys. I haven't done this in a while, or ever, maybe. Other than all the hand-drawn stuff I was trying to do with battle card upgrades, which some of those don't actually look pretty good. I really like my Scraplet Scimitar, however it's pronounced. Oh gosh, I gotta get back to work. So we'll see you next time. We went over a lot. We hit some more characters, more Power Masters coming. I hope these are okay. Give me some input to say, you need to check their stats, up their stats a little more for these 3-star and 4-star characters. Look at some of the other characters, see what, compare. If you're wanting these to stay out in the field a little longer, they need more stats. But that's what I'm trying to make a challenge with this, okay? Are these worth it? Could these be great for the game? Could they not work for the game? I don't know. But it is an idea. It's an idea still somewhat in motion. For the most part, I think they're done. But, I've been going back over, and it's like, at least they don't get deployed. Deployed or not, remember that card with the rumble on there that I had? So when your opponent deploys a character, I think it was a secret action that allows you to do 1 damage to the deployed character that your opponent deploys off a headmaster or somebody under Soundwave or Blaster that gets deployed, or Tidal Wave deployed. boom, do 1 damage to the deployed character. Yeah, I think that's the card, if I'm remembering my cards correctly. And I made a lot of cards. So, so these guys don't get deployed. They're Battle Masters. They start in bot mode. They get KO'd. You play their upgrade side. And when you play their upgrade side, something is going to trigger as long as they're going onto the right faction or trait or whatever listed. I don't know if these are going to help so much. I tried staying away from planes and cars so much, even though these are engines that are based on a lot of cars and planes. So I was trying to go for other traits and to help a few other things out. Can they still go on Firecons and Beasts? Yeah. Stuff may not get triggered, but yeah, if you want to give them a little buff to some attack or some defense, or be able to flip some more cards from the cranks, from Christmas with the cranks, you know, for more flipping power. Ooh, I like this guy. He's got crank 3. I'm going to use this one so and so. Oh, this one guy's going to give a little more defense. Oh, this one's going to give more attack. We're not done. So we'll see you next time. I got to get back to work. Oh my gosh, way too long. And as always, have not just a great day, have a blessed day. And as always, Autobots, flip out and let's put on our Power Masters. We'll see you.